Hi, I'm Elizabeth at Literary Princess, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're here, you probably already know me from either my Tumblr or my blog, but in case you don't, you can find the links to those down in the description box below, along with the links to my Goodreads and StoryGraph profiles. So I am a third-year literature PhD student specializing in Victorian literature. I specifically look at women writers. I work a lot with the Bronte sisters. Wuthering Heights is my favorite book ever, but I also lately have been doing work with more obscure writers such as Ouida, Margaret Oliphant, Dinah Craik, and Amy Dilwyn. So, as you might imagine, I'll be talking a lot about Victorian literature on here because it's my career and I'm studying for my qualifying exams, theoretically. In practice, I'm ignoring them. But I do have a lot of other bookish interests. I am obsessed with fairy tale retellings. I run a feature on my blog called Fairy Tale Friday, where I examine retellings against the original tales and other variations to see what the author decided to use and what they decided to get rid of. I'm also very interested in representations of mental illness in literature, particularly eating disorders. I read an extremely wide range of genres, anywhere from fantasy to young adult, literary fiction, horror, dark academia, you name it, I'm willing to give it a try. So I will be talking about all that and more on this channel, but today I am here to talk about my winter break TBR. So, as a PhD student, I get a blessedly long winter break, and I cannot tell you how much it is needed. I have been in an extreme reading slump for most of the year. It's just been bad. All my reading has mostly been for school and I'm not really having fun with it. So I just want to use this time to do reading that is not related to my PhD and to just have fun again with my books. So I have a list of 20 books here that I would like to try to get to. Will I get to all of them? No, very unlikely. I mean, maybe I can try, but it's unlikely. So let's jump right into them. First up is These Violent Delights by Micah Nemariver. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. I am actually already in the middle of this. I started it in like early November and then PhD happened. That's going to be a recurring theme around here. PhD basically ruins everything. That's its job. But this is a dark academia novel set in the 70s following two college boys. And I am really enjoying this. I can't wait to get back into it and see how it ends because this was gearing up to be a 5-star read for me. Next up, we have one that I bought earlier this year that I don't know if I'm going to get to it during this break because she's thick. This is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. It is a follow-up to the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which I really enjoyed. Yes, it has problems. It has a lot of problems. I still had fun. I wanted to read this. So, we'll see. Maybe. Next up is one that I bought, I think last year, and then started, and then PhD happened, recurring theme. This is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is Gothic literature. I love Gothic literature, one of my favorite genres. I've heard amazing things about this, so I can't wait to actually get more than 5 pages into it. Next up is one that my mom gave me for my birthday this year. This is How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. It is a series of side stories for the Folk of the Air trilogy, which I really enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to this, and also it's illustrated. Look, it's so pretty. I love illustrated books. I think more books should have illustrations in them. Next up, we have some nonfiction. This is Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. I watched the Netflix series that they made with my fiance, and we really enjoyed it, so I wanted to know the real stories. I'm also very into serial killer stories, so this sounded right up my alley. Next up is one that's been on my TBR forever and that I actually got for my birthday last year from my grandparents, I think. This is Thorn by Intisar Kanani. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm so sorry. This is a retelling of the Goose Girl, which is one of my favorite fairy tales, and we need more retellings of the Goose Girl. The only one I know is the Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, which is one of my favorite books ever, but I want more retellings of this story. So I'm super excited for this. I'm gonna write a Fairy Tale Friday feature on it. Next is another fairy tale retelling that I got for my birthday last year. This is Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie Miclemore. I read her retelling of Snow White and Rose Red a few years ago and really loved it. This is a retelling of The Red Shoes, and it looks like it's going to be amazing. Next up is one that I got from an Owl Crate box. This is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This is a dark academia, features witches and lesbians. A+, sign me up. And it has gilded edges. Look how pretty, oh my goodness. I like pretty things. Next up is another Owl Crate book. This is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. Oh my God, this cover. Look at this cover. It's so pretty. I like it so much more than the original cover. The original cover is very meh. I lost my mind when I pulled this out of the box. So this is a Gothic romance, kind of paranormal from the sound of it. I think I'll really enjoy it. Next up is a little bit more nonfiction. This is Praying with Jane Eyre, Reflections on Reading as a Sacred Practice by Vanessa Zoltan. I actually don't know much about this one. It was given to me by a client at the dog kennel I used to work at. Everyone there knows that I am doing my PhD and that I love the Bronte sisters. So this client read it and thought of me and actually gave it to me, and she's such a sweetheart. So I am looking forward to picking this up and seeing what it's all about. All right, so I said that I wasn't going to do any PhD related reading, and I lied. This is Vanity Fair by William Thackeray. I know I have to read this for my qualifying exams. I've never read it before. I have watched the movie. The movie was good. It was over a decade ago that I watched it, but I remember it being good. So this is another really thick one. Look at that. So I figured read it on winter break when I actually have some time to pay attention to it. Next up is one that I just bought this summer. This is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry. This is actually set in Danvers, Massachusetts, which is near where I grew up. It's the home of the Salem witch trials. And this takes place in the 80s and is about field hockey and witchcraft. A+. Next up, we have The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I have had T. Kingfisher on my TBR for years. The Seventh Bride has been sitting on my Kindle for years, and I just haven't gotten to picking it up. So I am excited to get to this. It is a horror novel, and it looks pretty spooky. And then we have one more classic. We've got Belinda by Maria Edgeworth, and this is not for my PhD because this was published in 1801 and is therefore not Victorian and not part of my specialty. But Edgeworth has been compared to Jane Austen a lot, who I adore, and I actually have a friend in my PhD program who's very into Edgeworth, so I'm looking forward to reading this and talking about it with her. So now we have some rereads. First up is Malice by Heather Walter. This came out earlier last year. I received a digital ARC and reviewed it, and then I came upon it in the bookstore and I wanted it, so I bought it. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling from the point of view of the evil fairy, and it was really good. I'm gonna reread it and write a Fairy Tale Friday feature on it. Next up is another fairy tale retelling. All of the rereads are fairy tale retellings. I like them. This is Fairest by Gail Carson Levine. This is a Snow White retelling set in the same world as Ella Enchanted, which is one of my favorite books ever. I adore Ella Enchanted. I remember Fairest being really fun and good, and I'm looking forward to revisiting it. And last of the rereads, we have Deerskin by Robin McKinley, aka the Queen of Fairy Tale Retellings herself. This is actually one of my favorite retellings. It is of Donkey Skin, which is not retold much at all for understandable reasons, but I can't wait to read this and write a Fairy Tale Friday feature on it. I adored it the first time I read it. So the last three I actually don't have physical copies of. The first is Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shannon McGuire. That is the next installment in the Wayward Children series. It is coming out on January 4th of 2022, and I got an ARC of it, and I was so excited. I love this series. I've actually already started Where the Drowned Girls Go. It's very good so far. It's gonna be great. Love this series. The next one is another digital ARC. This is The Latinist by Mark Prinz. I don't know a whole lot about it, and I'm filming on my phone, so I can't look up at the description. But it is a dark academia set at a college campus, which is totally my jam. And then the last one I actually don't have. I am hoping to get it for Christmas. It's on my list. I think my mom knows me enough to get it for me. Fingers crossed. This is Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. It is another retelling of the Goose Girl. Give me all the Goose Girl retellings this winter break. I just want all of them. So this is actually from the point of view of the maid that steals the princess's identity, and I'm really looking forward to it. The author put out an excerpt in comic form earlier this year, and it was so good, and I just can't wait. So, this is my TBR. We will see how many of these I get to this winter break. Please don't forget to check out my links in the description box for my blog and my Tumblr, and also like and subscribe if you want to see more of me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to chatting with you soon. Bye.